Hello, welcome. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I am so looking forward to crafting with you. Today we are going to get to use the brand new first collection for 2023, the Garden Lily collection. So I don't know about you, but I love it when a new flower is released. It just adds so much excitement to be able to put a new flower on your cards. So let's go ahead and switch our camera views and take a look at what we're going to make today. All right, here is the project that we are going to be making with the Garden Lily collection. I just love these lilies. All right, so let's take a look at everything that comes in this collection. I think you're going to love the garden lilies because there's just so many varieties of lilies that grow and so many colors that they come in. Now I chose to use white lilies today because they just remind me of Easter, of sympathy, and especially of weddings. But lilies come in such a wide variety of colors, and I love the way so many of the team have colored them up, and I think you're really going to enjoy them. So we have the lily itself, and I'll show you here. You've got this die that gives you, or this stamp that gives you the ability to make a large one, a medium one, and then you've got this one that will make a smaller lily. And then, of course, your greenery here. And then in the other two stamps that come in this collection, you have the bouquet and the buds, which give you this little stalk of the buds and this beautiful spray. And then we have this garden lily spray and fillers, which look at this beautiful greenery here. That's going to be a really fun piece to add into the backgrounds, to add these beautiful curly cues, and then another smaller bud and a little smaller spray. So just lots of options built into this set. Of course, we have the dies that match all three, and it also comes with the mold. So every new flower, it's great to have that mold that helps you with the shaping, gives you that start, and we will be using that today as well. All right, so to start on our card today, we're also going to be using the 6x6 swing fold card white, and we're going to use that as our base. I'll go ahead and get that out and show you. It is the one that's basically a 6x6 card, but it has this little circle over here on the end. And this is what we're going to be using as our base card today. So what I want you to do is when it opens up like this, we're going to turn it over and lay it like this so that your crease is here and the circle is here. So hopefully that makes sense. So what we're going to do, our crease folds this way. We're going to bring this up. This right here is now your front. Okay, so the front of your card is this right here. And I want you to go ahead and get your scoreboard, and we're going to lay the circle right on your scoreboard, and we're going to score this at the half mark. So this is, if you have this part of your line perfectly straight with your 6, then this is going to be where it needs to be. So you need to score it right at the 3. Okay, and hopefully if I've done that correctly, it's going to. Okay, so let's flip this back around so we have it the right way. So we have, this is our fold this way, and our circle here. We're going to fold this up. Go ahead and pull it down, and now we're going to fold this up like this. This is now the front of our card. So we can go ahead and close that and set this aside. We just wanted to get that all ready so that when we get our flowers made and we're ready to create our card, we'll have our base ready to go. So the second thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and stamp out our images. So using our brand new Garden Lily stamp set, we're going to stamp 1 of this one, and we're going to stamp 2 of this one. So on here, I only have 1 stamped, but you're going to need 2 to make our flowers. And you know what? I'm sorry, I told you wrong. We need 2 of this one. We need 2 of this one and 2 of this one, and then 3 of the leaves. And then we need 2 of this little bud right here. And then you need 1 of this one right here. So all of your petals for your lilies are going to be stamped in the vivid chartreuse. And then all of your other greenery is going to be stamped in olive green. All right, so to begin with, we're going to come in with some sunflower ink. And we're going to add a dark circle of yellow right here in the center of all of our flowers. And that's just a really quick step. But I'm also going to come in with some buttercup and just very lightly go around that circle, just radiating that yellow on up onto our petals just a little bit. Now, while I have this out, I'm also going to add just a little bit of this yellow onto just the tips of all the little buds. Not very much color, just a little bit of yellow up there on the tips. Okay. All right, and that's really all we're going to do at this stage to our lilies. So the next thing I'm going to do is to come in with my olive ink. And for this big curlicue one right here, I'm just going to put a nice swatch of this dark olive going right up the center, all the way up to the buds. And then I'm going to do the same thing to all the greenery here. I'm just going to put a nice swatch of the dark olive coming all the way up. I've made so many circles with this one, it's starting to come apart. And then for these buds, I'm going to do the same thing, starting at the bottom and going to bring it up just so that this leaf that comes off the side has some of that dark green coming up the side. And then our final color is the vivid chartreuse, and we're just going to come in and on all the outer colors of the curlicues and down the sides here and on the base of all those buds. Right. And the same with our over here. And on this one, I'm even going to go over all of the olive color, just kind of blend that green in. And the same over here, just going to add in that and add some of that onto the base of our buds. All right, so once I get to here, we're going to go ahead and die cut these pieces. And once they're die cut, you're going to have 1 of our curlicue piece. You'll have 2 of our buds here. And then we need 3 of our leaves. And when our flowers come out, we have quite a few flowers. I'm only going to have a few right here. But we're going to go ahead and run our leaves and our flowers through our mold. And everything's going to go in the mold face down. So when it comes out, you'll have this nice, pretty shape in our petals, which makes it so fast and easy. Let me know in the comments if you just love having the molds. I know that as I get older, my fingers are a little more sensitive, and I am thankful to have, if you look at this mold, how just detailed the shape is, it really puts some nice dimension into your leaves and petals. So that is very nice. Now I am going to go ahead real quick and add just a little more shape in there. Now I did come in with my chartreuse ink, and on just the tips I put a little bit of green, not a lot, because I don't want them to look like green flowers. I want them to still look like white flowers, but I like to have just a little definition out there on the tips. So here, I'll show you the difference. This is one that has not been done, and this is one that has been done. So you can see it's not very much, it's just a little bit, but it's enough to make a difference there. We'll do this one real quick. All right. All right, so now I believe we are done with the inks, for now anyway. And I'll go ahead and on these that have been molded, I'll add just a little bit of pressure right in the center will do the trick. Now, one of the things that was released with our garden lily are these petite pollen stamens. These are very similar to the ones that come for the calla lilies that were released at the same time, but they're much tinier. And these are what we are going to use for our garden lilies. And I chose to use the ones that are a very sparkly green. They're like a glittery green. And those are the ones I'm going to put inside of my white lilies. So can you believe it's already 2023? I feel like 2022 just flew by. All right, now I did put these together using hot glue. So I'm just letting that heat up, but the way I'm going to mold these is like size with like size. I'm just going to layer them up and offset them. I'll go ahead and put these aside. And let's see, I think to layer them, I'll go ahead and use this glue just while I'm waiting on my hot glue to heat up. But I do use my hot glue to attach them, and I do for my stamens when I do that, but it'll be okay to use the dry as clear glue for this part. All right. I like to take my fingernail and just kind of press down in there, and that, again, it makes those petals pop up some more. Now I'm just going to use my golf tool to put my hole, and see how it pops up even more when you do that. And I like that look of them really popped up. So all right, one thing I did on some of them is I just took my golf tool and kind of added some arch and shape, and curled back some of the petals. I didn't do all the petals, just a few here and there. There we go. All right, so I used about 5 in each one, and then on the larger ones I put 7 on the stamens. The way I like to do my stamens is go ahead, and feed them into the hole that I've made. And once I get them about halfway down, I just take my glue, add a little dollop of hot glue in there, and then pull those down in there, just like that. And when it comes to hot glue, the way I do things is the least likely that I'll burn my fingers, because I tend to burn my fingers a lot, and I try to avoid it. So that's kind of why I do it that way. So I'm just going to lay that to cool off. There we go. And pull it down in there. All right. We'll let that cool. Now, when these cool enough, I might add just a little bit more hot glue just right back in here, so that when I cut those, that I won't lose any of my stamens. All right, while those cool off, I'm going to go ahead and add some shape to our buds and our greenery. And to do that, I'm just running my stylus around the edges of those curls and in the center of each of these buds. And then on a few of them, I'm going to turn them over, and I'm going to rub on the front side to kind of get those to curl the other direction. All right, so on most of them I curled the back side, but on a few I curled the front side. So you can see that that has, you know, that they don't just all go the same direction. I kind of like them being a little more varied. There we go. And the same with this. One of them I'm going to curl towards the back. And then this one, I'm going to turn it over and put just a little bit so it curls back this other way, like this. Okay. All right, so today we are going to use the EZ Stem floral wire and make ourselves a little bouquet of our lilies. So to do that, I chose that kind of darker green to match our olive. I'm going to kind of pull these apart. And the first thing I'm going to do is to add my leaves. Whoops, there we go. So for one of them, I'm going to put the glue here on the front. And on this second tallest one, I'm just going to lay that right down in the glue right there. Oops. And I am going to pull this little mat underneath so I don't accidentally glue it to my table. There we go. And now I'm going to add glue to the back side of this one. And on our tallest, I'm going to add it right here. And then on this other tall, so I did the three tallest ones are where I'm putting my leaves. And then this one, I'm also going to put it on the back side. I'm going to add that right here, just on top of my leaves. There we go. Okay, now all of our flowers, if we match them up size with size, these are two of our smaller ones. And I'm going to go ahead and cut off the stems. Whoop, there we go. And then the same with our largest ones. I matched the two largest ones together. And then for the two mediums, and for the large and mediums, I put 7 on the inside. And then we have one more of our small ones here. All right, so these are what we have to work with to make our spray here. So I'm going to start by putting the biggest one right here. One second. I'm going to fold that back. I want this one right here. Okay. And the way I like to do it is I like to just put a nice big dollop of hot glue on the back of my flower and then hold it right where I want that to be and give that a chance to dry. So tell me there in the chat, do you like working with the wire stems? Have you had a chance to do that? They released quite a while ago with, I believe, the poppies when they came out. It's a really fun to give a totally different look than when you're just gluing them straight down. You can kind of see those stems, and I just, it's just a fun way to add your flowers on. I like that. So this right here. Now we're going to take our, do you see what I did? That's the medium. I glued the wrong one. So the medium one I put up here, I'm going to redo this one because that was supposed to be the large. Sometimes I get to talking and I make a mistake. There we go. That's how I want them. So I want the large one right there in front. I was looking at all these small ones and this one looked like the largest, but my large one had actually fallen over there. There we go. So the medium one I put up here behind, and then this is my large one. So luckily that glue hadn't hardened all the way, and I was able to switch those out real fast. There we go. The beauty of live crafting, huh? You might make a mistake. There we go. All right. I've got these glue strings going all over. We'll pull some of those off. Okay. All right. I think that one's going to hold. Okay, now I'm going to take my small ones and I'm going to add one over here on top of that leaf. And then I'm going to put one over here on top of this other leaf. And the beauty of this is you can kind of raise and lower them to make the look that you want. You see how that, see, I can kind of position it. And I like to spray them and kind of lay them all down first before I start hot gluing, which I did when I made this one. So that kind of helps me know where I want to put them because I've done this once before. Now I'm going to take this little one and I'm going to add that right over here. A little glue on the back. I want some of those buds and this leaf coming out right over here. But I'm actually not going to add that flower until after I put it on my card. So this last flower we're going to add in just a moment. There we go. And then the same with this. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have it come up right back here. So the same stem that my largest one is on, it's this one right here, I'm going to add this. Okay. Just add a little bit of glue on him. So I'm pretty sure where I want this other flower, but I'll show you why I'm hesitating just a little bit. As soon as we get our card made. Whoops. Out of the camera. There we go. Okay, see how we added those buds in? There we go. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lay this aside, and I'm going to lay it face down so all that glue on there can kind of dry and cool off while we make our pieces for our card base. And so the only two that we should have left are these two right here. Okay, so I'll lay those aside also. So let's go back to our card. And this is what we should have. We have our card base with this little piece folded forward. So let's go ahead and fold this piece down. And we'll take our paper pack. Isn't this a beautiful pack of paper? I love that they give us so much color in the sheets that are kind of more your background pieces, the solid pieces. I love that there's so many different colors. So we are going to be using this beautiful piece right here. And we're going to be using this yellow piece right here. And the one other piece we're going to be using is the tags. And we're going to be cutting one of the tags, and I believe it's right towards the center here, but we're going to be using one of those tags, and you're going to use your ornamental tag set, and it's this one right here. And we are going to cut out this tag right here, and we're going to stamp "Just a Note to Cheer You." And that "Just a Note to Cheer You" comes from the Cheerful Note Sentiments. Okay? So once we have that done, we can go ahead and set that aside with our other pieces. We'll be using that later on. All right, so we're going to bring in this rounded sunlight window, and the largest round circle that comes in that set. Out of your yellow piece, we're going to go ahead and cut one of those. Now, once you get it cut in a circle, go ahead and put it on your paper trimmer, and at the 3 mark, go ahead and cut it, and we're going to cut that in half. All right? And then out of that pretty floral paper, we're going to cut a 6 by 6 square. And the 6 by 6 square, we're going to go ahead and glue down right here. Oh, you know what? If you glue it down at 6 by 6, you run the risk of this not folding. So I am going to trim off an 1/18 of an inch on 2 sides. All right, so we're just going to an 1/18 of an inch off one side, then turn it once, and go 1/18 of an inch off the other side. And what that's going to do is give us just a hint of a white border. And that white border will make sure that right here where this creases, that will fold nicely, because when it was 6 by 6, I had a little bit of trouble folding it, so that just ensures that we have no problem there. Okay, glad I remembered to tell you that. I would hate for you guys to have that issue. So let's go ahead, and I did ink around the edges of this piece with the chartreuse green. Like I said, there'll be just a hint of a white edge. So on this little flap right here, we're going to fold this down and we're going to glue this flap closed. All right. Now flip it up and you're going to glue this piece right here. And we've made ourselves just a little pocket to put our florals in. Whoops, I got that on crooked. All right. Now, we're going to come in with this, the Delicate Daisy and Corner border. These are such pretty dies in here, and we're going to use this long one right here. We're not going to use the background to it. We're just going to use this piece right here, but I cut that out 3 times and layered them together, and I did that out of white paper. And we are going to go ahead and glue that right onto here. So don't put glue on these corners that hang off the edge. So right about from this, see how there's swirls at the top, the second one in, I only put my glue about that far because that's about where the cutoff point was. So I'm just going to glue this down. And I found that I put my glue a little bit below that top edge because I let that top edge kind of hang off the top a little bit. Sorry, is my head in the camera? There we go. I must have a crooked eye today. I'm getting everything on crooked. Okay, so glue that down on there. And then we're going to open it up and take our scissors and just go ahead and trim off that edge that hangs over. All right, so there's our card front so far. Now to finish this off, I'm going to come in with a little bit of double-sided tape, and I'm just using the I think this is a 1/4 inch wide. And not around the whole thing, but just around the bottom curl. And I'm going to leave this glue free because that's going to create our pocket. There we go. Oops, not those. I have one pair of scissors that are just for adhesive, and I try never to use this pair. That way they don't get all sticky. All right, so once I've got my double-sided tape down, I'm just going to burnish that down real well. And when I go to close it, when I bring it up, I'm actually going to add some pressure right here to kind of get that to pop out. See that? I'm getting it to pop, and then I'm attaching it. And I'm attaching it on purpose so I have that little pocket in the middle. See how that is? See, I've domed it up. There we go. And that is what has created where I'm going to place my flowers. Okay, see that? All right, that came together pretty well. All right, so I'm just going to mold these how I want them. Now I have this one other little stick, and I'm not going to worry about it so much because I do still have this other flower, but if I put that flower on, then it would be too low. So he will actually go up in here, but I'm going to wait till I put it in. That way I can kind of see where I want him to be. But the way I'm going to put this in, and hopefully, I believe my glue gun turned off while we were creating our card base. But I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue to here, and then I'm just going to slide it down in there and hold it shut. Okay, so just as soon as the gun gets hot again, we'll do that step. So didn't that make a beautiful, it kind of reminds me of Easter. I may have to make a card like this again come Easter time. But when I can tell you a little story about lilies at Easter time. My husband and I, we got married the Saturday before Easter Sunday. So the church that we were married in had already decorated for Easter, and so I didn't have to pay for the flowers to decorate the church building because they already had a huge cross covered in white lilies. And so they just, Easter and lilies and all that just remind me of the day I got married. So that's just a little side story while we wait on Hegan. All right, so this final flower, I'm going to add a little hot glue. And now that we have the flowers in there, I can kind of see exactly where I want him. And I'm going to tuck him right there. Okay. Now, I still have this pretty piece right here, and I want that to kind of curve around right over here. So I'm going to add just a little bit of glue to him. And I'm just adding my glue right on the center a little bit because I don't want to lose those curly swirls and stuff. I like that. So I just want to add a little bit. Trying to see how I've maintained some of that shape in there. I think that's pretty. And let's see. Now the last thing I'm going to do, I did tie just a little white bow out of some ribbon that I had. And I'm going to tuck this right up in there, and then I'm going to add my bow. So I'm only going to add my glue just right there on the tip and pop him right up under this flower. And the same way, I'm going to add just a little bit of glue. Let's see, which way do I, back, this is the back side, right here on my bow. Oops. And I'm just going to pop that petal up and put that bow just right up under there. All right. Now for the final step to finish this pretty, it's kind of just a hello card. It could be a sympathy card, but just a note to cheer you. So this one, depending on what you write on the inside, it could be used for a lot of different purposes. And of course, on this size tag, there's so many of our sentiments that fit here. So you could make these different colors and kind of go a whole different direction with this idea of making yourself a little pocket front. And any kind of flower could be made on this stem. So this is an idea that you could definitely utilize in lots of different ways. But our last step is we're going to take some of our 3D crystal lacquer. And we've got to add glitter to these flowers because no flower is really complete until it has the glitter. All right, so I'll put a little crystal lacquer there. And I like to do this with a paintbrush. So I've put just a little bit of crystal lacquer on my block. And now I'm just going to paint each of the petals with my crystal lacquer. So that not only is going to add glitter, but it also gives a little bit of a shine to my flowers that I really like. I'm just going to add some of that, and there you go. And of course I went around with my crystal lacquer on all the flowers, but there we go. All right, well, I hope that you've enjoyed learning to create the garden lilies today. I'm going to go ahead and switch my camera back. All right, well, the Garden Lily collection is available now. Those of you that are Insider members had early access to that, so hopefully some of you already have them on the way. But you can get that in the I Want It All through this Saturday. And I know that you're all just going to love creating with the Garden Lilies. And I hope you like this idea of making your little pocket using the pre-made card bases. And I can't think if there's anything else I need to tell you, but that ought to do it. So thanks again for crafting with me, and I hope you all have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.